Hey guys, it's Katrina again, and in this film we're referring to Sleepy Hollow Season 1, Episode 8, Into Darkness. I know I've been waiting forever to review this show for you, but that was because I just didn't have the time to. But I finally watched this episode, and I have really enjoyed it. There were some really great scenes in this one, and I definitely really enjoyed it. So, pretty much what this episode was about was them trying to basically, how are we going to interrogate the Horsemen, you know, how is this all going to work? And I was wondering that myself, because, I mean, he doesn't have a head, so obviously they couldn't ask him questions. But, basically, Captain Irving's pretty much like, oh, this is not going to work, you really should not be going through with this, how do you know we're going to be able to interrogate him? And they go through with it anyway because they say they basically have to do it because they want to know all the questions. We got most of the questions answered in this episode, by the way. But while this is going on, Crane starts to tell Abby this story about how there was his best friend Abraham and him. They were best friends and everything. This was about the time he was engaged to Katrina. Abraham was in love with Katrina. He was in love with Katrina, just like Crane, and him and Abraham actually ended up getting into a fight over this. So, yeah, so we find that out, and I thought that was definitely a very interesting thing, and I kind of expected where this was going to go. Eventually, though, they are able to interrogate the Horsemen. There were some really intense scenes in this episode. I definitely thought that there were a lot of really great, intense scenes, and I really enjoyed that. But the other thing that I definitely really enjoyed was that when he interrogated the Horsemen, we saw that not only is, well, one big thing is that Brooks is actually, he is the coven that resurrected the Horsemen, and despite having his neck broken, he returned everything, and, he still has his neck broken. He actually is working for the Horsemen, so he ends up letting the Horsemen go. But then comes the biggest reveal that, Crane thinks, wait a minute, I kind of recognize his technique in fighting, because him and the Horsemen got into a fight, and he thinks, wait a minute, the Horseman is Abraham. What he finds out is that Abraham sold his soul to the devil, basically, and he had his head removed, pretty much, that way he could get revenge. It's all about revenge. And the reason he's after Crane is because it's for revenge. And now it makes total sense why him and Crane are connected, because they're best friends and they both love the same girl and everything. And, so that was definitely really big when we found out. But again, I did kind of predict that's what was going to happen. I did kind of predict, okay, that I kind of see that's where they were going. I still appreciate them for taking a very big, it still was shocking, even though I knew what was going to happen. It still was surprising. I will admit that. Because I didn't actually think they were going to go there, but they did. I thought that was really good. But then the biggest thing is that they basically find out that the only way to take down the Horsemen and to unconnect the two of them is to get Katrina, because that is Abraham's only weakness. His only weakness is Katrina. Katrina is the one who's going to be able to, fix all this, so they have to find a way now to bring back Katrina. And I thought this was, again, a great episode. I absolutely loved it. Even though there wasn't a lot going on, I definitely really enjoyed it. There was a lot going on with the flashbacks, but there was more flashbacks than there was, present time. There was, a little bit of other stuff, with Jenny and everything, but mainly I just want to talk about the main stuff that was going on. And, definitely I thought this was a fantastic episode. They're just getting better and better with these episodes, in my opinion. I mean, I'm still surprised by how good they did with this show. Seriously, it's gone from a Monster of the Week show to a big revealing episode where we find out all the breaking questions. The only question we need is basically how are we going to be able to detach Abraham and Crane? How do you think we're going to be able to do that? I'm not exactly sure. We're going to have to see later, but what I do know is that this was, as I said, a fantastic episode. I really enjoyed it. Again, there were some really great scenes in this episode. And let me know what you guys saw this episode. Were you surprised by the reveal? Now, Is there anything else I want to say about the episode? Let me think. Is there anything I forgot? No, not really. I mean, that was pretty much the episode. What I will say is that the effects for this episode were really cool. There were a lot of really dramatic scenes, and I really love the fight scene between him and the Horsemen. I thought that was pretty cool. And the reason this review is so short, by the way, guys, is because this is an early review. This is a late review. You guys pretty much know what happened on this episode, so I don't think I had to go too much into it. But yeah, that's basically it for this review. I hope you enjoyed it, and again, I thought this was a great episode. I mean, if you guys saw this episode, how are they going to be able to unconnect Abraham and Crane? And my only question is that since Crane took Abraham, the Headless Horseman's head, shouldn't he have known that he was Abraham all this time? That's the only thing I'm kind of confused about. But that's it for my review. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, bye.